Today I'm going to talk about the greatest forgotten Seiko 5 of all time. Let's get into it. Yes, and welcome to the Mad Watch Collector Show. After a newfound love to the Seiko 5 from the recently released 55th anniversary of the Seiko 5 Sports, I wanted to look round to see if there are any other Seiko 5s from the old days that you could still buy in the nowadays. Yes, there are still brand new discontinued Seiko 5s all around the world waiting to be snapped up. And there is one particular Seiko 5
I've had my eye on for quite some time.
It always reminded me of a jacked up SKX, and the nickname it's been given is really cool as well, the Land Shark. Anyway, after seeing it on Jomashop's website, I gave them a quick little email and they were very kind enough to send this to me and I don't have to give it back. Jomashop are a superb grey market dealer giving fantastic bargains of a lot of watch brands we all love. Instead of the brand's warranty, you get Jomashop's warranty, and in turn that gives us a big discount. Not so much with this watch, as the Land Shark cost $244, probably was cheaper when they were being made, but as it's discontinued and you can't find them in many places, I still think that's an okay deal, even though we've got a pretty dated movement in it. Anyway, really excited with this one, as I think this could be a winner. Are you, Land Shark, ready? Let's go! And oh my word, look at this beast. Biff. It definitely looks like a jacked up SKX. In fact, it looks like an SKX that was given to the A-team in the morning and by the end of the day comes smashing out of a barn with a cannon attached to it.
I pity the fool.
This Seiko 5 is not a diver, nor is it a field watch. It's somewhere in the middle. What makes this really appealing to me is we have a screw down crown, which has a lovely knurling to it by the way, and a screw down case back, which gives us 200 meters of water resistance. I've got to say, I've never seen an affordable Seiko have this much finishing to it. We've got brushing, polishing, and bead blastedness on the case. Yes, we've got two crowns, one at 4 o'clock that operates the watch, but one big chunky one at 9 o'clock, and that helps turn the inner rotating compass. How cool are those hands? Really pop out of the dial. And first impressions of this watch, it's a beautiful beast. Quick spec check. Right, so it's 42 millimeters in diameter, it's 14 millimeters thick, only 46 lug to lug, but a horrible non-strapaholic 21 millimeter lug width. Why they chose that measurement, I do not know. We've got a hard Lex crystal protecting the dial, and hard Lex has been used and made by Seiko since the 70s. It may not be as tough as sapphire, but it won't shatter like sapphire. Not that I've ever seen a crack in any glass I've ever had or ever will. Even though this is not a diver, we have a unidirectional 120 click bezel. It's exactly the same feeling as my SKX. Maybe not as spongy, but it's definitely a Seiko bezel. It's an aluminium insert, but we do not have a lume pip at the top, which is another confirmation that this isn't a diver. But I love the knurling of this bezel. It matches both crowns.
And it just looks tough, you know?
Almost as though Arnold Schwarzenegger should wear it. Yeah. He could definitely rock one of these. The inner rotating bezel is a little pointless. I would have preferred the size of this crown be that of the operating crown, which I think is on the tad bit small. The ironicness of this big crown at 9 o'clock is that we have no friction and no ratcheting to it, which means even the slightest of brushing with the finger, this compass bezel moves. Also, the pointless crown is signed, whereas the crown that operates the whole watch isn't.
Go figure.
Still looks cool. The bracelet is the only thing that sort of lets this down and tells you that this is a budget Seiko. Hollow links, hollow end links, press clasp, but I do love that security flap and double deploying on the clasp. Another telltale sign that this is not a diver. We've only got 2 micro adjusts on the clasp. I'm sure over time I'll have this watch on something else other than this bracelet, but it does mean me buying more 21mm straps. Ugh. Okay, let's look at the face.
Dial time.
And I gotta say, I absolutely love it. I love the Rehawk being the compass, and that slides you down into the dial. It's busy but done in a beautifully designed way. Everything's printed apart from that amazing 5 logo shield. What a great touch that is. Love the printed 12, 6 and 9, as well as those big baton markers. I would have loved not to have a day date and to have seen what this dial looked like with a printed 3 on it, but as it's a Seiko 5, that's part of the key features of a Seiko 5, to have a day date.
Gotta have it.
The handset, apart from the colour, are very reminiscent to an SKX, and I really love that yellow. They've got to be the chunkiest hands I've ever reviewed. For such chunky hands, the end is very thin, which makes this watch very accurate to read. All in all, a superb dial from Seiko that they need to bring back in some capacity. So we've got lume on the hands, lume on the arrow markers. Let's see how this puppy glows. So yes, big application of Lume Bright means this watch is absolutely glowing. Powering this watch is a 7S36 movement, very outdated now, no hacking, no hand winding, running away at 21,600 beats per hour. Unscrewing it is very satisfying because of the knurling, a definite pop. Turn the crown towards you and you change the day, turn it away from you and you change the date, pull the crown all the way and we can set the time. Lovely jubbly.
Hello.
On my 6.5-inch wrist, and I've fallen in love with this little thing. I say little, it is big, it does have presence, but it really does mould to your wrist. The watch looks sporty, tooly, ready for anything. The yellow hands combined with the black dial makes this watch so legible. It makes me sad that these watches have been discontinued. So there we go, the SKZ211 Landshark. And I've got to say, I'm so disappointed I never saw this sooner. I love how quirky and how different this Seiko 5 is to any other Seiko 5s around. Nowadays, it seems Seiko are putting all their trust in the SKX cases, making them slightly less original and devoid of character. With the Landshark, you don't just get character, you get an absolute monster of a Seiko that I'm pretty sure could survive an atomic bomb. I honestly don't think I've seen a tougher Seiko than this watch. And this is coming from an owner of a Seiko Arnie, for God's sake. But for me personally, I think this is one of the best Seiko 5s you could have bought or can still buy. It's not trying to look like anything else. It does have a pointless compass crown. It does have a unidirectional dive time bezel.
Without the lume pip.
But it is a 200-meter water resistant watch. And I think this is an absolute winner. Shame they discontinued it. Here it is, my wife's thoughts on the amazing Seiko Landshark. Hate it, looks like a plug. Get on the Jomashop website, check out the watches they sell, because I found a lot of gems that other shops just aren't selling. This was a great find for me, and ever since it was delivered, I have really struggled not to wear it. God, I love Seiko. And on that note, why don't you check this one out? This is a fantastic show, go on. All about Seiko again. Go on, it's completely different to this one, although this is fantastic. This one's good as well, go on, click it, click it, click it!